Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. On today's show, Dan and I are going to go through some OpenSea data for the month of July. Fun fact, not a great month, so there's a bit of a spoiler there. Before we do that, please go ahead, like today's video, subscribe to our channel, and head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT portfolio management needs. Dan, how are we doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, but OpenSea on the other hand is not doing too hot. As you said earlier, spoiler alert, it's been another shit month.
Yeah,
Uh, but hey, there are some upsides. Some
maybe we
upsides.
maybe we bottomed out, maybe we haven't. So let's jump right into the numbers. It's the 1st of August. We're going to recap what happened in July compared to previous months, compared to last year, all that good stuff. So total volume on OpenSea for the month was $528 million. That is the second consecutive month below a billion. It's down 25% from June. It's up 60% year over year. So it is more than what was sold last year, but it is the worst month that we've seen since July of last year. And it's also down 89% from the January all time high. You know, obviously, ETH is down significantly as well. So that definitely plays a part in it. But, overall, Dan, the market not looking good.
Yeah, I just wonder like where is everyone going? You know?
I think we're gonna dive into that a little bit deeper into this, but it's definitely a situation where people are keeping money on the sidelines because there's so much uncertainty of
Hmm.
whether or not we've seen the bottom for crypto. Has ETH bottomed out when it hit like $900, or is it going to go back to that point? We don't know. A few more numbers we want to touch on. So total number of NFTs sold was 1.7 million for the month of July. That's actually up 10% from June, and it's up 371% year over year. It's our fourth highest month of the year, so smack dab in the middle so far in 2022, but it's down 25% from the January all time high. We did have a slight uptick in active users in July over June. It was up 6%, and that number is up 662% year over year. So we saw about 415,000 active traders in July, up over 600% year over year. Now, here's the numbers that give me the most concern and what I think we need to see go up before the market recovers. So, Dan, you mentioned where all that money is going. July was obviously the month of free meta. Like the free mints
Hmm.
is what drew volume. And we see that in the fact that July of 2022, dollar per sale for Ethereum NFTs on OpenSea was $310 per transaction. I mentioned that we saw the volume increase in dollars year over year, but it's down in dollar per sale. So July of 2021, the average sale was $718 per transaction. And if we compare that to the high in January, which the average sale was $2,100 per transaction. So a lot of projects are down, a lot of people jumping into these free and cheap projects, and that shows up in our volume charts as well.
Yeah, but maybe this also means that there's more spread in the market, right? Maybe it means there's just too many projects, or or like people buy into more projects with like a very low floor, and maybe a little bit less on the quote unquote blue chip side, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of unexpected.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are very hesitant to throw, you know,
Yeah,
I think I hate the term blue chips, but
yeah, quote unquote.
of those projects, the lowest of them is probably I don't know if you want to call Goblin Town in that category yet. I think it's a pretty solid project, but that's still 2.5 ETH right there. If you look a little bit
Mm,
higher, you have stuff like Clonex, Azuki,
yeah.
Doodles. Those are still in the 8 to 12 ETH range, and there's just a lot of hesitation. We haven't seen a big run. We saw a floor sweep of Azuki last week, but we haven't seen a ton of volume around those projects. And like we talked about on Friday's show, if you haven't watched Friday's show, I recommend you go back and watch it. We discussed that like it's going to take some deliverables from these projects to reinstill confidence and to get excitement back in the market. So I think if we see that dollar per transaction number begin to recover, that's a sign to me that the NFT market as a whole is recovering, and some of the higher quality projects, and it's less about trying to flip free mints that are all going to basically go to zero anyways. So, I think we bottom out in July as far as volume and dollar per sale goes. I have no idea, but I sure as hell hope so.
Yeah, honestly. If it keeps on going like this, I wonder, because I got a little interesting fact, and that's if this month in terms of volume is lower than the last month, then it's 7 months consecutively where the volume is lower than the month prior, and that's not great. That sets up, like, if you look at it from a graph, it's just like a straight line down. So hopefully August is better than last month.
Yeah, we're going to start to see if the stock market, stock markets around the world, if the
Mm-hmm.
crypto markets recover, but the NFT markets don't, we'll have seen that there's just been this big divergence there. And it's probably going to be a while until some of these NFT projects recover. And we've talked about it for a long time. The majority of them won't, right? Like, we need some of these higher end ones to deliver the games and the experiences that they've said they were going
Mm-hmm.
to, and not just be more airdrops of more
Yeah, yeah.
NFTs. Like, that time has kind of come and gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we can really. That wasn't sustainable. It felt like last year was kind of a situation where people that were early were placing their bets on what they believe in long term. Some of those people have shown confidence in those bets and aren't selling. Some people, their confidence is very shaken and they're trying to get out, which I completely understand. You can't fault anyone for that. So I think we have to just kind of be prepared for the rest of this year to be pretty rough. We may see a recovery, we may not. Like, I don't think trying to guess what's going to happen next is challenging. I think you just have to make educated guesses around
Mm-hmm.
teams, projects, and communities that you're the most confident in.
Yeah, time will tell. Time will
Yes, it
tell.
will. So let's look a little bit deeper at some projects that have, you know, we had a few decent projects for the month of July. It wasn't all terrible, but it was mostly terrible. So if we head to FLOLiO.com, which I recommend you go check out, we can see our 30-day trending collections chart. At the top of it was CryptoPunks. They saw about 33,000 ETH in volume. That doesn't show up on the OpenSea chart because they're obviously not sold there. It was a Yuga top of the charts with Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Apes. We see that other deeds, the floor is down significantly, but they saw a lot of volume. But then we have some other decent projects and some other crap projects too. Like this YOLO Bunny one is just a straight up scam, right? We've discussed this. You did a whole
Mm-hmm.
video on it. Um, and then, we see a few that I know you wanted to talk about, Dan, with potatoes and GMDAO. So why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so I don't know what GMDAO is about. I don't know what they do. What I do know is that in a week they've gone from 3 ETH to around 7 ETH. And that's interesting because if you look at the market and like mostly looking at the last week, like a bunch of these top 100 projects are down, you know, and not even like a little bit either. So it's very interesting that GMDAO especially has outperformed the market, and has really become like an outlier in this current in this week at least.
Well,
And
this says
then
that this was created in September of 2021.
yeah, they had a huge spike maybe a month ago.
Okay.
Is it you might be able to see it on the volume chart.
Yeah.
They
So
had
real
one
quick,
specific
so
peak.
there's a mint count of 842, so it is a pretty solid distribution as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, so they had a huge like spike in volume at a certain point, although I don't exactly know why, but it was like an absolutely insane peak. There you go. Yeah, that's the one, I
So it
think.
looks like it was July 17th and 18th. They saw almost 300 ETH in volume, and even the day before they saw 127, and then on today they've actually seen 176.
Yeah,
And
so
we've
that
seen
doesn't. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can see the floor price there, and like that volume might not be like absolutely insane, but if you think about how many assets they have, it's a lot, right? Like if you see 100 ETH in like a 10K collection, it most likely won't do too much, but with their supply, it's very impactful.
Yeah, so that floor price was just hanging out, around zero point 0.5. It saw some little pops, but then it just went
Yeah,
nuts. We need to dive a little bit deeper and try to figure out what exactly prompted that. Do you know, did they like announce something or did they have
I wouldn't know.
some? Okay. And then
I've
the other one
seen,
you had in there was potatoes.
yeah, the potatoes. So they launched a little bit over a week ago, and it's also interesting because they're also like a huge outlier. Everyone knows 9gag. They launched a free mint project, It was whitelisted, however, so it was pretty difficult to get in. And they've seen over like 8K volume in that week, which is very impressive. And they're hanging out in around the 1.2 to 1.4 range, and very interesting because like I said, most projects are down.
This unique owner chart is weird to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a free mint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it went from like a pretty spread out ownership. It jumped as peaked about 6,500, but it's ever since the price floor started going up, it seems like people were just ready to get out and take their free money and run, because now we're down to under 5K unique
Mm-hmm.
owners. So this distribution chart is fairly strange. If we look at, volume chart, a lot of activity, and then it kind of got quiet. And then I think they made an announcement around like staking. You're going to be able to
Yeah. Yeah.
you're able to stake your tater there, Dan.
Yeah.
So I'm
Next
not
week.
too sure what all that entails, what you're going to get from it. They do have a pretty strong group of like advisors behind them. Like I want to say Kevin Rose is supporting it. Um, Tim Ferriss, I believe, is also like kind of on board with this. So I think they
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of very smart people advising them to make sure that they do this right, which I think could be a good thing for them. And if we look at floor price, it's been they started off doing pretty well, and they've built up and right around 1.13 now, which is pretty good for a 10-day old project that
Yeah.
was free.
Yeah. And so staking allegedly begins next week or somewhere next week. They
Okay.
briefly mentioned it on Twitter, and they're actively discussing what to name it now, either staking or rooting. Um,
Okay.
so we will find out.
Okay. Yeah, it's we've talked about some things that we're looking forward to in August. I think there's some stuff that's going to come out with BAYC that could provide some excitement. Um, but we just need projects that have made a lot of money in this space to start to deliver on their promises. Otherwise, confidence is going to continue to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I know it takes a while to make some of these big things that people are really excited about, but there needs to be some sort of deliverable.
No, I
So
agree. I agree for sure.
that is kind of the state of the market right now. Any last things you want to touch on before we head out of here, Dan?
Nope.
All right. Well, we'll be back with more episodes this week. We have some great interviews coming up. We're going to talk about some things that have happened over the weekend, and as the week progresses, we'll dive more and more into some of the biggest stories in the world of NFTs. So for Dan, for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you next time.
Bye bye.